Hey guys, out here I'll bring you the third or fourth tier list discussion video. I don't know. We haven't had a tier list talk in quite a while, so I figured why not? I'm doing this live as of October 31st in my region. It's probably November 1st for other people. I don't really care. I've got a few people sitting in chat. I will be keeping an eye on them to see if they want to throw any commentaries. So feel free to drop stuff down in micless text if you want to have an opinion said. Okay, so we're gonna do the character tier list first, and I think I've been talking to some people on the Discord server, and I've noticed a lot of discussion about dropping subunits, and then like subunits should be going up, and like how like the game has changed a lot over the last couple months compared to how it was before. So generally what's gonna happen, I think, is I'm gonna first of all probably not put Demiurge onto the list because we've got a new Demiurge. He is what is it? I think I dubbed it Mass Demon of Catastrophe on the Overlord Wikia, but like the kanji's kind of just like Catastrophe Masquerade if you just Google translate it, and I don't think it sounds that great. But anyways, enough about my aesthetic. We're here to talk tier list, and the reason why I'm not gonna put Demiurge onto the tier list right away is mainly because I want to rebalance or reshift the entire tier list in terms of like what every unit is there for a reason, and yeah, a bunch of stuff is gonna be sliding down. And then we're gonna do unit buffs after we've rearranged everything. So it's gonna be a bit awful and a bit hilarious at the same time. Alright, so first of all, we're gonna go to SS tier, and at this point, this is where our Lord and Savior PDL ends up moving down to S tier. I hate to do it to him because I love PDL, and it's gotta happen. At the same time, on SS tier, I think that I'm actually gonna drop all the tanks and all the healers down to top of S tier. So yeah. People probably be like, what the fuck is wrong with Die? And the reason is there's nothing best in role for them. And at this point, there's no broken healer with like a 2 MP AoE. There's no broken tank with like 80% base mitigation. Will stuff come out like that? Probably not. But like realistically, at this point, we've just got really good healers and really good tanks in this game. But there's no longer really an SS above there. So this has been kind of like a long time coming for everyone to drop down to tier, right? Besides that, Pimp Irons is still broken AF, no matter what. So Susuga Irons, and 2 Beto theoretically can go in front of Irons, but in terms of utility outside of being pure DPS, Irons is just a better unit. But yeah, so not much change in SS tier besides me dropping like all of 7 people. So we're gonna go down. We're gonna go down to S tier. S tier at this point, I'm fine with leaving all the healers and tanks that were in SS at the very top of S. Nothing too amazing about that because they were best in role, and now they're like still kind of like really good at the role. Nothing too awful about it. We've had a few conversations about single target DPS not being as good, and at this point I kind of have to agree, because you've got to be able to massively AoE nuke now, not just single DPS a unit down. It's still good in terms of like if that's all you got, that's fine, but it seems that like some statuses such as bleed and burn are just a bit better at doing that. So just being a strong single target DPS, I don't think really keeps you that high up. What's gonna happen though is I'm just gonna start shift. I'm gonna kind of go in terms of like role, in terms of like attackers, enhancers, DPS, and stuff like that. Cause we have A tier broken down to attackers and then every other category, and it wouldn't make sense for me just to start like going kind of out of order. Cause if they're going to move down a tier, right, they're gonna move into one of these pre-existing slots. So S, I think 5-7 tier list back, I've started putting descriptions behind like the letter grading of the tier, right? So when it says strong units for endgame content, it means exactly as it sounds, right? This is like in terms of you're using this in an undead, like what units can you throw onto your team to clear undeads and have like a generally good time with it, right? And then as you can kind of see over like the last couple of undeads, we're not talking about Berserk though. Halloween wasn't that bad either, but like the two undeads before that, right? So we had like buddies and we had like adventurers, I think. Oh wait, is that the same thing? Fuck. Yeah, no. My memory is kind of slipping me, but it's not as good as a spa. Thank you. Yeah. So well, I don't think spa was awful too if you had the good strategy, but like theoretically, you should be able to bring these units with you, and you should have like a good time at undeads. So we can start with the first attacker, PDL. I think PDL still is okay as a unit you'd bring for undead content. Yeah. Bleed is still good. Buff strip is still good. Stun is harder to hit because I think stun threshold on units has just gone up. But like I think PDL is still like probably one of the best DPS units. His MP cost nowadays seems really expensive because like if they made his 6 MP to a 5 and his 4 MP to a 3, like buff stripping on 3 and OD gauge build would be really strong. And then AoE bleed slash stun threshold increase, or not increase, but like I think it's like 5% stun up per hit on a 5 MP would be definitely a lot better. But yeah, not much else to say about PDL staying at kind of the top. Adenala, I think I've used her in a few undeads to try to like pump out DPS, but I don't think we've at the point in the game where you can just try to single target someone like straight to death and be able to move fast enough. Because you're always gated behind your MP costs. That's kind of awful. I would probably like if I would to make like a hard cutoff in terms of damage versus like for DPS, like it feels really hard to like straight up move a unit one tier down. But maybe it'll get shuffled later because I'm just gonna go over the other DPS in this tier real quick because I realize we have units. So I'm just cool. Also offline updated his site again, which is great because his site, as much as I love the wiki, is really good at filtering stuff because I memorize stuff, and the wiki in the future will probably have filters, but as of now the wiki doesn't have good filters and it's kind of a clusterfuck to pull up any kind of unit, and I kind of hate that, but that's kind of a future proofing thing. So like Adela, Nabe, Alberto, Fox, yeah, okay. So it's kind of like I can just pull up some Alberto, and then I think Fox too, right? We actually got a really good typing distribution right now, in terms of top 5. Slimeco. Did I skip Fox? Fox. Cool. And then Nash Chill 2 Guts. And then I think I'll stop at those two, and then I'll come back for the rest of them. So Nash Chill, and then grab Guts. Alright, so okay, Danila was kind of like the best single target DPS in terms of highest damage, right? Alright. So I'm just gonna pull out my quick calculator because mental math eludes me at the moment. So 430% damage on 4 MP. That's base, right? And then she has base crit chance at 55% at 100% HP, a bit of physical, a bit of evasion. I don't think she's that awful as a unit overall. Like, I still think highly of Adenala just because she has base evasion of 3 in her kit, which is good for undeads. Because even if they have aim, right, you could throw an evasion relic and she'll be +7. So even if they normally enemies have +4 aim on their kits in undead, so she still walks away with +3 evade. And then we what is it? Yeah, at 3 levels, it's still like she has a 1 in 3 chance of dodging attacks though. Really good, really good. I still really like her as a unit. It's just that like in terms of like DPS, like Beto and like other units are gonna be able to pump up more. And then she lacks an AoE. I'm pretty sure all her other skills are pretty useless, right? She's got the self buff and evasion, which I think is not that awful too if you're just trying to focus on survival and you're just trying to hit with autos. So maybe I should be using her second skill more. Who knows? Hit debuff is not awful either. Like all her skills actually aren't too bad now that I kind of look at it a bit more carefully. But like realistically, I feel like I'm always just spamming 4MP just to push out DPS, which might just be kind of a strategy on my part being a bit flawed. But she actually has really good utility. I actually really like her kit. The only thing is attacks in this game are getting a lot higher, right? Because like I know the new Demi is at 10k base attack, and Pimp Irons is at 10k base attack, and then Alberto I think might also be at 9.6. 9. Let's see if we can even find her. Yeah, Alberto is what, 9.2. Yes, it's still like really high compared to Adenala. Because like I think I was talking to some people a while back about the new stat standards, right? Because like for attackers, like for stat standards, is normally you had to have at least 400 speed, and for your attack to be on like on the good end, we're saying about 81 was kind of like the base, and this is before passives, right? Because like a lot of units have like speed passives, attack passives, and pretty much 81 was kind of like the starting line for good attackers. So she's a bit below average, but I still think that like she just has a really good kit. But I think yeah, I'm gonna leave her as is for now. Yeah, you only really use the 4MP. I kind of agree with that because that's kind of what I do. But like at this point, I think maybe we should be using her other skills more often in terms of like survival and DPS. Because if you just self buff and attack, you're not eating your mana too much. And truth be told, like undeads, if you're trying to clear underneath 50 turns and you spam nothing but 4MP, you're kind of gonna have some issues, right? With like this mana costing and getting a good clear time if you play too cautiously. Yeah. So, in terms of S tier, I might actually, what is it? Sashio's should be put in hands of healers and tanks on top of DPS units. I kind of agree with that a bit more because the enhancers keep the rest of the team, like all the other 3 units keep the rest of the team alive, right? Healers heal them, tanks take aggro, and buffers debuffers reduce how much damage you're taking. Yeah. So I was gonna say the thing about Adenala's minus hit on her first skill is even if she's a DPS unit, she has utility as kind of like a debuffer, and honestly, even if it's the debuffer's job to manage like hit and stuff and evade, having another unit be able to like lower levels for it takes pressure off some of like the higher MP skills, right? That's why Pimp is so good, because Pimps you can just use a straight DPS like 80% of the time, where you're just spamming his free MP to build up OD gauge, and then you're OD 5ing and nuking everything, right? But at the same time, his buff debuff is 5 MP, right? Which is like debuffs attack, defense, speed, and gives all buff to team. And then at that point, if you use him straight as a buff or debuffer, you're like, oh well, I'm gonna be like out of mana constantly. So having another unit kind of just like lessen the aggro for your team is not awful, because realistically, you could run 2 buffer debuffers instead of a DPS with how strong like Pimpines is. Yeah, yeah. So I'll get into that a bit later and how Nazarick is a bit high. But I will move Adenala down a bit. But I'll move her to the next available DPS, which is Nazarick's Anniversary Naburo. And I think she is too high at the moment just because she came out on Anniversary, and I think a lot of it is me not moving her around too much when newer units came out. Cause like stat wise, her attack is still decent. She's a bit slow, for sure. But like I think she has really good passive ratios still. Yeah, she just nukes like a motherfucker with her passives, and yeah, no, nukes harder than Fox technically. Uh. Yeah. 4 hits, 200%. Fire to 1 enemy, 100% rate, 6 MP, and then this is, yeah, no, like, Naburo skill nukes just as hard as Fox. The only thing is Fox gets resets on her 6 MP, and Naburo doesn't. But at the same time, if you're fighting a unit, like a boss unit, that like you're just doing raw DPS to that you don't kill on undeads, then you don't even get the reset most of the time. So I don't think that's too much of an issue. Because like if anything, yeah, she can go down, but like I don't think Fox is super strong within her. I think evasion passive's nice to have. Survivability. She has base OD. Nabe doesn't really do anything else besides AoE foam. Fox has really expensive single target, but has chance to... no. Oh my god. Yeah! You know what? Anniversary Nabe is kind of a lot worse off, because she only does damage. And turns out I've got to try to draw a line somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, no. I think the big issue with that Anniversary Naburo is that she doesn't bring anything else except raw DPS, and even her numbers aren't the highest, which kind of sucks. They're weak to lightning, then like go for it. But at this point, like I think I'm gonna put her on the bottom vest here, and then like she's gonna be like the new measure, because I'm pretty sure she's gonna drop down the A. But Naburo's the bar, and if you can't be better than the bar, you're probably gonna drop. Alright, so I'm just gonna close Adela, close Naburo. So Q actually has burn on her skill, and I forgot about that. Chance is 61%, not awful, and burn is one of those statuses that are just really good. They're like, it's just really, really good. Cause burn does percentage HP damage, which in undeads is like a huge chunk, and it ticks over like 3 turns technically, because it's on the turn it procs and it doesn't unproc. It's like how buffs and debuffs technically kind of last 4 turns sometimes, right? So it's all about like speed priority. Yeah, and then I think Fox has +2 evasion, so I also like that a lot too. I'm actually gonna move Adenala below Fox because I think having burn is such a really good option. To be honest. And then Slimeco, 83, good attack, good speed. She has 2 hits of poison, so 5 MP, 202% poison killer. This is actually better than Fox's skill, 6 MP, except for the fact that Fox has reset. So reset is just really good. So when it works, so that's like the kind of like the coup de grace you get after you kill someone. And I might be using that term wrong, because you only get the reset when you kill something. But like so like Slime Coat would be better in terms of being able to shoot out more DPS. She also has poison on her first skill, and then she has defense shred multi-hit on her last skill, and she actually does it at a free MP, which is pretty good in terms of like pushing out raw DPS. Because yeah, her mana ratios are super strong. Not to mention that even though poison isn't as good as burn, because I think burn is stronger. The defense shred is actually super massive in terms of keeping your DPS consistent. Oh, we're talking about passives too. Dude, 50% over gauge start on like Q is actually pretty nuts in terms of like being able to just get that AoE burn out. Poison killer's nice. Realistically though, most units aren't gonna be able to get poisoned in undeads. There'll be like one unit out of 3 in the first wave or something, and then a few other ones where you just won't be able to get that off. The attack buff is nice, but that's just a single target poison nuke. So AoE I think is a bit better in terms of overdrive. So passive game is kind of like tight. I'm gonna look at the new Alberto 86. So yeah, no, that's a good number, right? For like that's not a bad number. Free MP, single target, inflict, recovery down. I think this is one of the undervalued skills in the game is recovery down. It's either Alberto. I think Shizu might have it too now. Like Yukata Shizu, like the one I totally just keep using sometimes, and then Nazarick Momon have recovery down, and it actually does help against like regenning undeads. It's just really hard to fit them into your team normally. So it generally has to be against content where the recovery is actually stopping you from clearing it. So it's generally either you really want it or it's kind of useless because you'd be like, oh, my DPS will be Alberto because recovery down. Because I really need to stop Naofumi from healing or something. Like, that's an abridged version of the situation. As opposed to, nah, I'll just bring 2 who is a broken piece of shit, who does DPS way too, like, strongly. So, like, I know how stuff units are a bit below and above because they occupy the same slots. But Alberto, every Alberto that comes out from now on will have to be compared to 2 and even if they're not an attacker, it'd be like, I could run like Christmas Alberto as my buffer debuffer. But if you have 2 it'd be like, nah, fuck this, I could run Jowder buff as my debuffer and then run 2 and then the DPS from 2 will be so much better, even though like Jalbadov's like debuff is inherently worse than Christmas Alberto. It's like, oh, but then you run 2 and then she's like 1,000 times better than every other unit. So like you might have like a -5 from Yaldabaoth instead of a +5 from Alberto, Xmas Alberto, but then you get like a +100 off 2 So like you're not losing anything off it. And this feels awful because Alberto is super fucking popular, air quotes, abridged bullshit about #1 waifu, a million forms of herself. We get like 4 a year. But Alberto will have to fight with herself for the slot, right? And it's never going to be fun to do so, because 2 exists. And I still say she was a mistake. But, yeah. Anyways, the rest of her kit, she has a multi-hit, which isn't awful. She has, Flooded as a skill. I honestly forget what Flooded does. I think it's on skill use. I'd have to check the wiki. I'm pretty sure the wiki tells you what Flooded does. But, yeah. If I was to say, she kind of joins the bow. It's just the 2 battle slot competition is really hard. Oh, I'd be missing buffs. Yeah, I don't have swimsuit Alberto just because I don't profile battles, but it's just hard. You had to fight for a slot. And, like, even then, like, when we get the buffers, Christmas Alberto's gonna drop down because you're fighting for in-slot. And, like, she is a good unit. Christmas Alberto is a really good unit in terms of what she does. But, you're fighting for in-slot at this point. And then other units can kind of do what she does as well. Okay, oh, man. I'm just gonna move the Shelter next because she's kind of within this cluster. 91, so really high attack threshold. They're not gonna buff Christmas Alberto again. That'd be crazy. They buffed Christmas Alberto to be an SS unit the first time, and I don't think units that got buffed once are getting buffed the second time. Not until like every unit in the game has been buffed. I think the second time. So like always, the newer units will be stronger. So yeah, we'll skip to Dash Chair 2 or 2 Chair, or whatever you want to call it, because I still call 2 battle 2 battle. Okay, so 4 hits of Shining, 47%, 100% Shining, and then crit buff. Yeah, not bad. 4 hits, fire damage, kind of like Shizu, bit fire. And what is the hit rate? 50% chance. I think it's a bit lower than Shizu's. So you might have to run a +4 aim relic on her to kind of be on par. Yeah. I think definitely do run an aim relic. It has burn too. Holy fuck, that's kind of busted. Holy shit, my poor Shizu can't kind of keep up with this. Holy shit. Yeah, no. Having like a really good multi-hit skill and then have burn attached to it is kind of crazy. It's kind of a shame on like the burn rate at 18%, but if it's counting 18% for 7 hits, it's not awful. Yeah. And then what else? Giant nuke. Is this like a frog nuke? 7 MP? Yeah. 6 hits of 34. Yeah, this is a very reminiscent of like Frog Nuke, except Frog Nuke, if I memorized it correctly, is 140% neutral magic damage, which calculates different than Elemental for some reason, because the game is really weird in the way they do math. Even so, this is 60% more damage, you have the 65% Elemental rate up, you have Dragon Killer for some reason, and then you have Chance to Inflict Freeze, which, Freeze is not that great of a status, to be honest, and then most of the people resistant to it. I feel like when the game has come out longer and longer, they decided to say, okay, all but new undeads are now like immune to certain elemental debuffs. Which is, when I say elemental debuff, I say bird, freeze, flood, storm, the whatever the darkness one is called, I think it's the spear. Bleeding is also an elemental debuff. Before you ask which element it is, it's neutral. So suck it. But yeah, so they started making enemies started resisting elemental debuffs, which is a shame because when the game first came out, like nothing was like immune to burn, right? But now that we've kind of gotten further on, they decided to give enemies like an option to, right? Because if you've played any undead and actually checked the enemy's weakness resistances, right, you can see some enemies can actually get sealed, right? Some enemies can actually get like poisoned or bled or burned, and then you can actually use that to your advantage, especially if you run specific units that do stuff like that. Okay, anyways, tons of elemental strengthen, some deeps, really nice nuke on AoE. The only thing she's missing is a skill that generates more overdrive, right? Because everything's 6%. If let's say her first skill at 24%, like she would go like she'd shoot up on the tier list. But yeah, no, I'm happy where she is right now. Attackers are just gonna get clustered kind of together at this point. But I'm gonna go open up Solution, which probably is gonna drop, cause she's kind of old, and then we can go talk about Guts, and then we can go talk about Kotori, Shizu. Both of them are my girls, and Ora Kotori, right? Actually, let's just pull that out now. So we could just go grab Kotori. She's all the way at the bottom. We already have Guts open. Shizu. Okay. Oops. Aura. Karimi. And then Shizu. Alright. Guts just got buffed. He's 78, 39, 100, well, 39 speed. I know there's something after that. He has speed passive that kind of fixes it. He has thresholds. I don't think thresholds are bad. I just don't think thresholds are good if they don't have like a secondary caveat to it. Because I think there was another unit that came out recently. It might actually have been Alberto. No, not Alberto, but like when you decide to have ratios where you get buffs when you're under a certain percent, you should also have buffs that give you like the same buffs, but when you're at like higher, right? So it's like regularly it gives you, let's say instead of 35% attack when you're under 50, it should give you like 15%. And then when you hit the threshold, you just get stronger. Because if you don't have threshold passives built like that properly, then the units just feel awful when you're not at the thresholds. It's like a PDL skill where like he becomes God mode underneath like I think 10% HP. Those thresholds just feel awful, right? Because wait, we're gonna go on this tangent, but this is gonna be like a 3-hour video probably. The way I'm going, but like if you look at this passive, right? So like he just becomes, oh, it's 20%. It doesn't matter because his HP is what, like 8,000. You equip I bow before you just for like the massive HP spike. You hit about 10k, 11k HP, right? And then to get to 20%, you have to get kind of below 2,500 HP, and at that point, like if you don't hit that and you're over just by a bit, the next thing will outright kill you before this kicks in. Right? And what's more awful is if you get bled or you get poisoned while you're below this threshold, you just take it and you die. And it's miserable. So if they literally had PDL says that like regularly he has like 20% reduction like physical magical, and then his physical attack is like plus 10 when he's above like 20, and then he kicks down the god mode after, that would make him less shit. But if, like realistically, PDL's passives are 15% physical attack, 2 evasion, and that's it. Because if you ever hit God mode, like, you're walking a fine line of, like, wiping your run completely. And it just sucks. Alright, yeah, no, that's kind of the threshold, argument thing, rant I like to go through. Because, like, Guts has that. He has attack, undead killer, whatever. Courage is at 1 HP. He's pretty much worse 2 Beto. He's like 2 Beto, except that, like, no, he just was 2 Beto. This not a comparison. Because, right, he has the I hurt myself, I deal damage. Except that 2 Beto does, like, much more damage. Guts is balanced 2 Beto. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, 2 Beto was a mistake. Anyways, I really like his AoE. 3 MP AoE. If you've been watching my videos, or like podcasts, or like just known me talking about the game long enough, you know I'm a fan of like really cheap MP AoE farming. So like that's why there's a small bias in terms of if you have a 4 MP AoE, you're a bit higher on the tier list than anyone else who has a higher one. But 3 MP is great. Spot Irons has a 3 MP AoE clear, which is nice, and it just really helps farming. Before you say, oh, but I clear it in 3 turns regardless, yeah, but then if you had to bring this one unit online to like an extreme farming, and other people bring like shitty units like fucking base cock or something, and like you'll be doing most of the legwork, the 3 MP actually does like salvage your runs to be relatively quick, and then maybe people won't drop. Also, yeah, no, Guts revives 1 HP, that sucks. I'm surprised they didn't buff this, because 2 Battle actually comes back with enough HP where she doesn't immediately drop after. But yeah, no, Guts is strong. I hit myself and do a lot of damage. It's 400 physical for 3 MP. This succeeds Adenala's 420-ish% for 4 MP, so it just does more. We are in a world full of healers, tanks, and buffer debuffers, so taking a bit of HP from yourself to do massive amounts of DPS isn't gonna kill you. Heck, you can even run like her true face, the regen attack relic, and you can pretty much mitigate how much you hurt yourself. Then tank is taking aggro, so that's not a problem. etc, right? So Guts is still a really good unit in terms of attack. He's like discount 2 Beto. I'm fine with leaving him maybe here in terms of he does more damage. He doesn't have any status equipped to anything though, so that's kind of an ish, cause you do want like some like bleed or burn. I still say he's better than Adenala in terms below no, I say above. She's really general, but like he just shits up more damage in the long term in terms of a pure attacker role. Yeah. And next we're gonna go to solution, if I can find our tab. Yeah, no, his AoE is weak. That's not totally wrong, but at the same time, you're just using that to farm. So, yeah. Farming is great. Okay, alright, so 86 is high, 39 is pretty much just as 400. Her speed's good for an attacker. Because she also has a speed passive that fixes itself up. OD start is not awful. She has bleed on her OD, so that's good in terms of a status unit. 6 hits of 39%. That is 234 for 4 MP. That's a bit low compared to some other people, but it has bleed attached to it, so we take that. 36 is kind of low. Even with a good aim relic, you spike that to kind of like a coin tossy amount of bleed. Not awful. She, like, yeah, no, she'll benefit from it. Her OD, which has high chance to inflict, like, a massive bleed, that's pretty much what you're kind of using her for. Her first skill is pretty much like the poor man Pimp Irons, gain OD for low MP skill. If you're trying to just, like, murk people with bleed, you're maybe better off, like, spamming this twice, her first skill, and then getting the guaranteed proc bleed. This skill's kind of not bad. The +5 to hit actually kind of helps against endgame content. The only thing is 4 MP, so you never use it because it's way too expensive as a skill. Yes, X-Mex Alberto does have the same skill, but X-Mex Alberto doesn't cause the enemy to bleed, and then we'll get to X-Mex Alberto after. Honestly, yeah, no, it's kind of like a good DPS unit for status, but, I don't know, man. You're using her for the bleed. She's not that good outside of it, and then you're using her based off the overdrive. So, like, she's kind of, I don't know, I'll put her above Clem for now. We're gonna reorganize A tier and, like, A tier and A tier, I guess. Both A tiers, and every tier below it after. So, yeah. Holy shit, man. At one point, I'm gonna go grab something to drink. Probably water, though, because I need to be sober to finish this. Actually, I don't think I need to be sober to finish this. But, okay. So, yeah, no, solution drops. Honestly, if this bleed was at, like, 80%, she would stay in S. Like, because having a high bleed on, like, a good multi-hit is really good. But she doesn't. Yeah. Besides that, like, Dog Killer's a shame. Dog Killer's a shame. We can't really do anything about it because she was built to kill Gargantua and nothing else. Except that he can't bleed. Okay, what else are we? Well, Katori. Okay, cool. I have a small bias for Katori. I'll let you guys know that now. I liked Katori when she came out because I thought, you know what? Like, she's like very tenacious in her passives, and then people just kept on hating on her because of her base low speed. And that's true. Her speed was really abysmal. They kind of buffed it, but it's still kind of abysmal now. Okay, so pretty much the main thing with Katori is you're looking at this regen, 50% HP regen per turn, which is a really nice passive. Looking at Courage, it kind of sucks at 1 HP, but seriously, this can save you sometimes, especially when it times out. That's why Courage isn't awful. What you mainly use it for is her burn. 61% inflict burn is really high for most units. Fox does this better, I'm pretty sure. 100% Fox does this better. I just need to double check Fox to make sure she has at least 61% to burn. Because if she does, Katori just literally just drops. Yeah, okay, cool. Katori gets the drop because Fox does the burn better. That is a shame. Yeah, no, I still like the regen passive, but yeah, no, Katori's down. And then I'm gonna put her above Solution because I think that the regen each turn helps you mitigate damage you take from AoEs and stuff. And yeah, Courage is a nice backup instead of just having Dog Killer. Actually, I'll put it above Nabro too, because I'm hella biased, and I think Burn is a better status than raw electric DPS. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Shizu, man, 82, good number. She's speed passive, +3 evasion is really good. Crit that doesn't go down compared to Adenala, so also really good. She's also hecka cute too, so that gets her bonus points. Probably best made, but not probably is best made, but yeah, no, 7 hits, 85% chance. So her multi hit actually has a really high percent chance. So you can give her a +2 relic. There's like 3 +2 aim relics with additional attacks that are pretty good. 56% times 7, because we're gonna be using that number, because if we don't, then she's gonna be like pretty garbage. So it's 392, so she hits about Guts level. 4 MP, Guts hits for 1 MP less, so Guts is like a lot stronger. She has better survivability passive in terms of free evasion over courage, which is just like die but not die. First skill is kind of useless, you'll never use it. Second skill is not bad. Remove positive buffs from an enemy is actually not bad, especially when enemies start stacking other like a lot of like a myriad of like self buffs, especially if like the enemy has an Entoma and they start stacking buffs. So stripping buffs is a great utility. It kind of makes her like the bottom of S tier, and that's just barely. Not as good as a Denala level, right? No, actually, we'll just pull it up, because I think a Denala just hits a bit harder for a bit more consistency. If not, then I'm going to drop a Denala down to Shizu's level, because there's no way I don't think Shizu can climb up. Right? Because they're very comparable units. Alright, so 79 to Shizu's 82. The speed is lower. The multi-hit is 5 hits. Well, yeah, 5 hits of 86, right? Alright, 5 hits of 86 is 430 to Shizu's less. So she hits harder than Shizu. She has free evasion. Shizu has free evasion. They both have the speed passive. She has 15% physical attack and then crit if higher. Shizu has 15 magic and 10% magic. So she has 25. She has a better attack passive. Her crit's lower by half. But they're very comparable in that regard. Yeah, we already talked about this. Build's 24% gauge, build 24% gauge. Her OD is 10 hits of 60, so that's 600. Shizu is 292. So Adinala building OD to nuke is a lot better than Shizu building OD to nuke. Which is a shame, because her Nazarick Shizu's animation is really crisp, and I do enjoy it a lot. So even then, in terms of being the single target nuker with setting the one skill, Adinala is better than that. She has the -2 to hit, which is not awful, and then plus buff. Shizu's doesn't even have that utility except for remove positive buff. Yeah, no, Shizu's kind of a bit worse than Adinala, but maybe like 5 spots below. But at this point, like, it's fine leaving her here for now. Next one, Aura got buffed finally, and we're talking about like the 5 hits being a thing, and then it's 5 hits of 79%, and then you just realize, dude, did we just not do? We just did Adinala's multi-hit, right? It's 5 hits of 86, so this is lower than Adinala's. Okay, already it's only 6% instead of 24%, so you can't even spam OD. Her OD is AoE, but the ratio is low and there's nothing added to it. So that's kind of awful. She just got these killers added to a kit for no reason, except to stay bad, which is kind of sad. This thing's a joke. They lowered petrification, but nothing in Undead is not immune to petrification. That's the only status they can't allow you to throw onto someone to just straight up, like, be susceptible to. Which is awful, because, like, you're never gonna use this except for like farming that one like extreme like 2 years ago. So yeah, no, yeah, this is pretty bad. In terms of DPS, like, I don't know, man. We'll throw her like on top of Clem, and then Clem can have a chance to claw her way above her. But like, yeah, no, they're not getting enough help. Alright, Karimi, 81's decent number, 400 for 11, good speed. She has no speed passive, so for 12 has to be kind of low, but whatever, it's fine. She just goes all in on Humanoid Killer. Her passives are wasted. And then she does, what is it, 30% chance to get more hits. Yeah, no, this was when Daylight first came out. There's no way none of this keeps. All the skills are like dated. Yeah, these are hella fucking dated, man. I'm gonna drop her like to the bottom of A. And when I say the bottom of A, I mean the bottom of all the S tier units that got booted down. And then all the other units at A can get like a good argument to claw the way back up. But yeah, no, she's just antiquated. Antiquated? I'll get that word correct one day. Okay, so that's that. And then we have, like, comparison. Okay, cool. That's all the attackers so far. And now we can go through the buffer debuffers. Okay. We can... Christmas Alberto... Let's just actually pull up her stats. We're gonna give everyone like an honest to goodness like chance. And that means we had to do kind of a much deeper dive. If some saint ever wants to watch this complete video and put timestamps, feel free to. Cause like, that'd be great. Cause I'm not going to do that. I don't have that much time in my life. Alright, Alberto, 456 speed, which is good, because the base level for a buffer debuffer should be 440, not counting speed passives. And she doesn't have a speed passive. So she hits like just the line of just enough speed, but she's a bit on the slow end for an enhancer. Okay, first skill is OD generation. Second skill is her debuff. Nowadays, I could see this being free MP, but like whatever. And then she has the self buff. So like the team buff, like she's still pretty decent, like 81 attack, like that's high for like a buffer debuffer. Normally buffer debuffers are between 71 to 77, so like it's not really like a slouch at her stat block. It's just that like you're comparing her to taking like the Alberto slot. It's the same thing with Ainz, because if we look at Nazarick, he's fighting Pimp Ainz, and there's only like very few instances where you take one over the other. And the first one is he has he is the best magic buffer in the game, right? Have you seen this shit, right? Give magic attack buff to team, magic skill damage to team, like speed so you hit faster, crit because you do more damage. This is what Lacus dreams she could be for physical, but she's not, because she's a general pool unit. Okay. AoE for farming, whatever. Debuff the enemy. Cool. They gave him the spear, right? Which is some of this attached to it. Which is 100% recovery, which is great. Chance is, like, not the chance, the issue is that being able to proc this when you need to all the time is, like, you can't just OD spam. His kit doesn't let you really OD spam that well. Unless you're just like constantly debuffing, and then you had to save mana. You had to be conservative about that. But no, he's a really good unit, like overall. Also, he's immune to sleep. It's not wild. But yeah, no. He's just super strong. But Pimp exists, so he's bad, and that makes me sad a bit. They're not gonna get moved. Mare is just behind the other healers. Christmas Mare, when they buff Christmas Mare. If they make Christmas Mare, like, I won't open the page yet, but like he would be so much like broken if he gets any good amount of buffs. But like right now, yeah, no, we can just ignore him. We're gonna open up the Supreme Power Mare. Yeah, so really good speed, 474, has a speed passive, so you get the Kyohoku levels of fast, but not really. I don't think Kyohoku ever gets outsped, I think. Because I think he has like 30% speed on like 450 or something. But yeah, no, really fast. Good HP values for a buffer. Attack's kind of low, but it's a buffer debuffer, so we don't care. Has a spot heal for 1 MP, so it's pretty much free at 39, which is really good for taking off stress from your healer. Party buffs, really good aggressive party buffs. And then it has the I'm gonna make someone super OP, aka Pimp Ainz is the best unit in the game. Yeah, no, decent, really good. Damage reduction in kit, nice. AoEs hurt you a lot less. OD gauge increase, not bad. OD is very defensive. I really like Mare as a unit. It's a really solid unit. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Buff as a buffer debuffer. The only issue I have is you don't have debuffs, and that's why it's not gonna touch Nazarick, because you lack the ability to debuff the enemies, and in terms of buffer debuffing, if you're just a buffer, really good buffer and utility with your spot healing. But like as a debuffer, enemy stats are always going to be a lot larger than, like, player stats. In terms of, if an enemy hits you for so much more damage, you lowering the attack by, like, 40% is going to make a much more difference than raising your defense by 40%. So that's why debuffs are, like, stronger than buffing itself. But yeah, no, rest of the kit's really strong. Yoshidon is pretty much, like, the budget version of Ainz, I think. In terms of, like, in terms of being a general buffer debuffer, I think she skirts the line of being, like, S. She sets the bar, right? So 445 speed passive makes her go up to, like, 500, which is good. Like, decent attack, like, pretty good attack for the buffer debuffer. HP is kind of meh. I kind of want more, but that's also average. Yeah, no. So this is the free MP, buff your team. Free MP, debuff the enemy. These ratios are super high. This is a garbage passive. Passive's kind of also garbage. Yeah, 7k HP is low. Yeah. But, like, yeah. Normally you give buffer debuffers aim, which I always default to I bow before you, so it's salvageable. Not lug level though. Yeah, lug's a DPS though. Anyways, yeah, no. Yoshidon is kind of like the bar of, like, what you should be doing as a buffer debuffer. And I think she can stay in S, but she's probably at the bottom of S, and then everyone else is going to get measured against her. Alright, so then we're just going to have a quick scan. We're going to have Summer Shoutier, Kyoku, Choco Yuri, New Year Ainz. I'm not going to be able to remember that. Can someone just, like, type those out in chat real quick so that I don't have to go back? Just, like, be like, swim chair. Actually, yeah, no. Yeah. Swim chair, Roach, New Year Ainz, Choco Yuri, Enri, and then Nazarick and Toma. Yeah! Cool. Thank you, chat. This makes my job so much easier. And then I'll just close these out once, because I'll be opening a buttload of tabs. Alright, so, swim chair, Kyohoku, my boy Kyohoku. If you don't know why Kyohoku's my boy, go watch my very first video. It's awful, and I hate it. But, yeah, no. My Mask for the Dead YouTube career began with Kyohoku. And then, it's probably gonna end with Kyohoku. If I ever stop doing these videos, I'll make one more unit review for Kyohoku, and then I'll just quit, Mask for the Dead forever. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Or when the server shuts down, I'll do a Kyohoku video again. Man, hopefully the server's not shut down. I think we got, like, another 3 years in this game before it dies. But, yeah, another 3 years. Alright, cool. We can start from Shoutier. Alright, so HP 74, 440 speed, yeah, MP regeneration +1. This is good, except that, like, it's bad on the flip side because they just upscaled her skills. And then +7 hit when HP is 90% higher. That's hilarious. Speed, passive, whatever. So. Alright, so first one, remove positive buff. This is a good skill for MP though, which is kind of awful because we already have units that do it for free MP. So whatever, but it's good utility on a buffer debuffer. Maybe you do want to use this. Team buff. She is a tech buffer, so that means she follows the other buffers in line with having an expensive 5 MP buff. Just like her cosplay Tanya chair is the speed version of this, and, like, I think Aura is, like, the heart version of this. Like, Idol Aura, whatever. It's too expensive as a general buff. Unless you're running an all-tech team, it's just not worth it. It's just really expensive. And then she has the debuff with damage. So, the issue with this, the issue with her kit, because this is, like, decent damage, because you do this is just worse. This is just worse Christmas Alberto. This is because Christmas Alberto does the DPS for 4 MP, and then she does the buff for 3 MP. Even though hers is an all buff, which doesn't stack, it's cheaper. slightly worse Christmas Alberto. You could say slightly worse Christmas Alberto, or you could say much worse Christmas Alberto. Yeah. On the off chance you're against a power team. Actually, let me retcon this. That is only in terms of not counting the 1 MP. Yes. The 1 MP regen just turns all these skills to 4 MP. That's all they do. And it's kind of awful, because Alberto still does 3 MP, 4 MP. So it's like, the only plus is you can stack your offensive buffs, because you can't stack Christmas Albertos. So even then, the 1 MP passive, I think, is kind of useless. Because they just upscaled all her other costs. Yeah. That's it. It's just like, it's not good because of how her kit was designed. Her kit was designed so that she has an MP passive that makes her kit usable. And I hate that. I hate that a lot. If they had her, like, if they didn't design this her passive to give her 1 MP, like, her first skill would be 3, her second skill would be maybe still 5 if they hated her enough, but her last skill would be like 4. That's it. Yeah. No, that's it. I think she's better than Tanya Cheer, because Tanya Cheer has 5 MP that doesn't get unmitigated. And, yeah, no. Buffer debuffer wise, I'll put it above Yoshilan for now. Tanya Cheer's good for raids. Yeah, but, like, that's one aspect of the game. And that's only if they're, like, not power. Especially if they're not power. So, like, Stars had the line for her not to be, like, too awful. Oh, yeah, Kyoku, 469, and then he has, like, what, like, 35% speed? Yeah, no. Kyoku's the fast. He is so fast. No one else beats him. Okay, first skill, +2 hit, +2 evasion. The team, 3 MP, really good. Really good. Because in this game, everything has evasion or everything has aim. So, like, just being able to change these levels is really good. Second skill is kind of ass because you're never really going to be able to land these statuses. And then his last skill is defense debuff, which is actually really high. This attack to himself is a joke. The crit down is whatever because the things really crit you. And then, like, you do this for the stun. It's like 25% chance to stun at 4 MP. And then he does, like, I don't know, a really middling amount of damage. Yeah. If you're using Kyoku for DPS, then, like, something's wrong with your team. He has 68k base attack. It's like Winmore. It's Winmore. That's it. I love Kyoku. I'll advocate for him. Like, 100%. But, like, if you use a Kyoku as your DPS, something's gone terribly wrong. Like I said, attack, speed, humanoid killer's hilarious. The evasion's really good for survivability. And then, yeah, no. He has a bit of statuses, but generally, you're just spamming skill 1 with him. That's it. Yeah. The 50% defense shred is really good, though. It is really good if you just need to nuke stuff. But yeah. Really solid unit all around. He's the only buffer who modulates aim and evade in S tier, I think, at the moment. So, like, right now, he's really solid. In terms of DPS, I put him above DPS at the moment. If you have him at OD5, dude. Deal 110% damage to all enemies. Dude, that's still kind of shit. It's like, because even at OD5, 110% at OD5 to all enemies, like, Aura's skill, like, if you're, like, Roach is here for iron support, you use the foods, just use the food. I know, man. You have to shred the fence and then use the skill. Like, there's a lot of better ODs in the game that's just nuke for, like, 700% AoE. Which may not be Chair, which may not be Irons, right? So, yeah, no. Kyoku's pretty good. Before, and it was almost pimp level. Yeah, I know. We can talk about ODs a bit later. Okay, what else? New Year's Irons. So, yeah, no, it's awful. You have to fight for the Iron slot. He has 91 attack roll, which is really high. 430 speed, and a speed passive, so that's some good shit. these passes are kind of like garbage on him because I don't like using him as an attacker. It allows him to nuke, but like because this is quote was high for a single target nuke at the time because it has a high element rate, high base damage. Especially it's a really big dark nuke, so like this does kind of help it. But I don't like using the nuke. 76 is like the acceptable line of really good for a buffer debuffer. He has a spot heal. If they buff him, did they buff him already? I don't think they did buff him because like this would be less garbage. Yeah, no, this would be less garbage if they buffed him nowadays. So yeah, New Year Irons. If they buff him, they gotta make this like 1 MP. If they make this heal 1 MP, he gets really, really good. And then his first skill is give immunity, magic stack 1, 100% defense. Way too expensive nowadays, so pretty much he'll be judged purely on the merit of his last skill. Which is 50% attack, plus 2 evasion, 30% reduction. Which is really good. This is as, who put this? I want to give credit. CC3. It's like, yes, it's Nazarick Guru at the taunt. Which isn't awful. And I really like him as a unit, but he is gonna drop. Like the problem is his skills are too expensive nowadays. This has to be at least a 4 MP now. And like this has to be like a 3 MP. And this has to be like a 1 MP. And then like he has to have a better passive. For survivability. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He does drop in terms of on the tier list, but I do put him above a bunch of the attackers though. Yeah, about there. Alright, Choco Yuri. Yeah, no, Choco Yuri is weird because she's an attacker. She has an enhancer circle, but like she's an attacker 100%. It's like Zeshi. Zeshi's also kind of fucked in that sense. She has single target wind. The only thing that like would make her super strong is if she had elemental wind strengthen on hit, like other characters that have like Valentine. Alberto has the darkness buff each time she hits, but she has the shred instead, so that's fine. So you can stack shred instead of making herself strong. She makes the team stronger. She has this buff to herself, which is hilarious because it's 4 MP and it just makes her team hit really hard for physical, and then per 2 hits also shreds defense. Like she's just so much better Philo, and it was really funny when Philo came out and then like got shit on of how good Choco Yuri was, and then Philo got buffed and still not good as Choco Yuri. Yeah, no, but this is a very attack oriented kit, and I don't hate this. The only thing about the skill is it's only for physical and it's 4 MP. It's really expensive, so you probably won't ever run this skill unless you build a specific team for it, and I don't think it's worth it because yeah, having a physical team, you're not going to in any game content because you have her as your buffer debuffer. You have a tank who will most likely physical slap people, but they're not going to do damage, and then you have your healer who's also going to be physical / magical, and so that means the other DPS has to be physical, and then the only good physical units are like 2 Beto and maybe PDL, and then that's kind of overkillish, but it's also kind of nice. Yeah, it's weird because we scale her as an attacker. She gets about here in terms of like defense shred, and like this is you treating her as a buffer. This is you treating her as a buffer, but like slotting her as an attacker. Honestly, if she had the sword symbol instead of the enhancer symbol, she might go below Slimeco, but as an enhancer, I just value this a bit more wrong. Yeah. Alright, cool. Next unit. Henry. Henry. AK. Good HP, good attack. Speed's good. Speed passive, of course. I think all enhancers, generally the vanilla ones. That's kind of high for Choco Yuri. Oh yeah, no, it is kind of high. That's moderate. That's moderate, like biased. Because realistically, if she had a sword icon, she'd be about here. But she has an enhanced icon. So, I'm just using her icon to break up the tier list a bit. Realistically, I could just leave her here and just call it. which I'll probably end up doing because I'm lazy. Alright, first skill, 5 MP. This is New Year Irons, except for physical. So really expensive. We talked about that before. 4 MP, attack down, crit down. You don't have the defense over speed down. It's a big attack down though, but 4 MP is kind of high. You want that to at least be free because it doesn't do anything else. The only plus side is it charges her OD, and she has one of the better ODs in the game because it's 525% physical damage. So this is a really good single target nuke OD. Hits higher than Irons, depending on if the element rate up cancels it, depending on the resistance to darkness or not. Alright, and then last skill, 4 hits, 44% to all enemies. You're getting like a 174? Let's just not do quick maths. Let's just do boring accurate maths instead. 176, I was off by 2%, oh well. So yeah, 176 AoE, which is a bit higher than Frogs by a bit, and that's kind of, yeah, no, this is antiquated, man. This is super old. I do like this though. Her OD is really good, but she suffers from being really old and slogged down of simpler times of Mass of the Dead. We'll leave her here for now. Yeah, no. Once Enri gets buffs, are they low ratios at Enri? She can go up. I can see that. Alright, and last one is Nazarick and Toma. Let's pull one out for Akane, because Akane has been the advocate of this unit for a long time in Global, and he believed that she was the best unit in Global before Global died, I'm pretty sure, because what she did. But then I'm gonna do this breakdown. She's 69 attack, which is the low end in terms of an attacker. And then he treats her as an attacker. But yeah, no, AKA she's not bad. 400 speed, which is slow, because she doesn't have a speed buff either. So normally an enhancer one's about 440, and on top of that, you want like a speed passive to make it go well. So she's already on the back foot. This first skill, attack and humanoid kill for free. The MP cost is not bad, but unless you're fighting against a humanoid, this skill is kind of garbage. Second skill is inflict this debuff. This isn't awful, but normally you also want speed instead as well, like even 20% speed for turn priority. But the high attack reduce and defense reduce is kind of nice. I think Yoshinon is only a bit attack lower, but also debuff speed. So it's already kind of like below Yoshinon in the first two skills. Which isn't good, because we said Yoshinon was the bar, right? Alright, next. It's the multi-hit. It's, she gains no charge for herself. What the fuck? I guess she gives OD to 25%. Yeah, I guess the way the math works is kind of weird. Okay, 3 hits of 91% physical damage to one enemy. Normally that was really good back in the day. For 4 MP, what is that now? 270 something? 273, right? So, for 4 MP, that's kind of low, because all the other DPS units that have stayed in this tier have hit higher. The only good thing is the heal on herself. She just has physical attack, which doesn't really help. Well, it helps her low numbers, but like you're not usually using her as an attacker. You want to buff and debuff. Humanoid Killer's trash. The recovery is built for her passive, and this is really old average skill. She's dropping. Akane can go, he can go write some complaints to me. He can go, if he watches this video up to the, an hour, 8-minute mark, then, like, he can come complain to me. But, I don't think anyone's gonna sit through this video that long. Yeah, no, so right now, we're at 1 hour and 8 minutes. This is gonna take me, like, I don't know, like 6 hours to upload by the end of it. Okay, we're done enhancers. We're gonna move on to tanks, right? Okay, so the only tank in this is top 3 OP tanks in the game. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Scroll down, scroll down. Origami, Mare. Oh, sorry, Aura, not Mare. Yeah, no, cool. We need to go to tank, and then we go Origami, and then we go grab Aura. Realistically, Aura was recently placed here, and Origami's probably gonna be the one to move. Alright, so, we'll do Origami first. 86, 43, not bad. Speed's free 88, not bad. Threshold passives! Fuck the second one. The second passive's garbage. They should give her, like, 10% speed when above 100. Because, like, she needs it. And then, same thing with the attack. She's a tank. She's never going to attack anyways. Fuck that shit. And then, this is what makes her a good tank, is these two passives. Anyways, yeah. Okay, so, first skill, AoE damage, lower speed, kind of trash. You don't really want to use this at all, because you need her MP for more serious business. Second skill is, removes all negative statuses and buffs from herself. This is great, except for when she gets sealed. Because, seriously, why don't they make units that cleanses debuffs immune to seal? Because, like, if they have immune to seal, then they can actually strip off and use her other skills after that. But if she's sealed, then her entire kit becomes redundant in terms of cleansing buffs. Same thing with, like, paralysis. It also, like, KOs her. Thank God, nothing in this game really petrifies that often, or that's, like, super garbage. Oh, yeah, anyways, it also gives 100% defense. Removing negative status buffs from her is actually good, because, like, they can end up stripping defense and all this other crap from her. It's not a bad skill, and for 3 MP, it's not awful. It's just that it needs to have more protection built into it, so it's not completely useless. Last one, 4 MP taunt, 200% provoke, 100% mitigation for 2 stacks. Yeah, no, at this point, this is kind of worse now for me, in a sense. You get really hilarious combinations with her passives and stuff. And what you do is, if you combo her with New Year Eins, then she becomes unkillable. Or you can pair her up with Nazarick. Because if you think about it, right? As my voice gets smaller, I'm just going to take this time to grab some water, because my throat's actually killing me now. Okay, I'm back. Oh god. Yeah, that's what happens when you start ranting for like an hour and 10. Alright. So, when I say the issue with her being worse Naofumi with her taunt, is because Naofumi has cover, not provoke, so he's guaranteed to always block stuff. Provoke at 200% is actually better, because it used to be 150% as the average, and that was still awful. So 200% is better, but provoke can still miss, and that's kind of screws you over when you're trying to specifically run like very calculated turns. Because if you miss the provoke and your hero does get dumped on by a DPS that crits you and then they die, then your run gets wiped, and that sucks. But yeah, no. Anyways, the only thing hilarious about this is if you pair her up with someone with damage reduction. Not physical or magical, but straight damage reduction. As long as Origami's HP doesn't get touched, so at the beginning of the game, or the turn, then she becomes immune to all damage. And it's really truly, except that you had to make sure she keeps blocking. And then this doesn't help your team when your team gets AoE'd. So, she's hilarious in her own way. In terms of, like, she's the most unkillable of all tanks once her conditions are met. But we're just gonna throw it to the bottom, and then we can use it as the bow, which is a tank has to be more hilarious than Origami to get to S tier, which doesn't sound like a good reason, but there's gonna be a bow for a reason. Alright, Aura, 92 good HP, really good defense. She's hardy. She's really hardy in terms of like stuff. First skill, 128% damage, crit rate, I don't know, man, that's kind of garbage. The main aspects to talk about on, Aura is her 60% damage reduction, which is always active, which is super useful, because not having your damage reduction tied to a skill makes you super useful, because Naofumi doesn't have reduction, he'll just die like a dog. That's kind of the big issue, because Naofumi's issue has always been, if the enemies are so fast to hit you before you get reduction up, then he just dies completely. That's it. So we can go on to she gets provoke, she gets heal, she does damage, resistance to all status effects for one stat. And no, this is just a really good tanking skill. Only thing is she doesn't have cover, right? So that's a shame. But not everyone can have cover. Recovery when 70% or lower, so she gets her HP back higher. Remove gold status. What this means is actually it just takes aggro levels away. I'm pretty sure like offline's thing is kind of fucked, but this is about aggro levels. That's it. Also, I'll say something when I hear something wrong. Well, dude, are you gonna stay here for the next 2 hours? Cause I think I'm pretty accurate with my information most of the time. Anyways, you didn't understand what aggro. Okay, so the way this game works is all characters generate levels of aggression, kind of like an actual RPG or like an actual MMORPG, right? So let's say when you hit an enemy, you generate aggro. When you heal, you generate aggro, right? So what happens is when you use provoke, you're just getting 200% aggro, right? So that means you're generating the most aggression from your team, and that will cause the enemies to hit the person with the highest levels of aggression. So that's what provoke does in a nutshell. That's why cover is better, because cover just protects your allies, regardless of the aggro levels. So the reason why now Fumi keeps on blocking Pimp Irons is because Pimp Irons keeps on nuking the ever-loving god of everyone, and then all the enemies want to kill Pimp Irons. So that's why now Fumi will always go cover him. As opposed to generating aggro from yourself is how hard you hit an enemy, how much you're healing your team, all generates their own points of aggression, right? So then what Aura's skill does, I think, is like change the aggro levels so that they get cleared, so that you have a higher chance of pulling, right? But yeah, no, that's just like a whole different level of discussion that we won't have now about how game mechanics work. TLDR, 60% reduction, good shit. Heal on taunt, good shit. Yeah. Good tank. More reliable than Origami. Yeah. We can leave her where she is. Probably more useful than like an attacker. We'll put her next to Kyoku. Good shit. Last one. Healer. I could just be like the biggest motherfucking cop out and just do this and just call it a day. But we can have this conversation. Actually, I'll probably like put it there. But yeah, no, top 3 healers, we just dropped them down from SS. Don't need to talk about it. Scroll that stuff down. Christmas Mari is super fucking good. Actually, well, we can have this healer discussion. We might as well add like oh, good shit. I did 3 single pulls off of Nazarick mana and got nothing. Yeah, I spent anything to get guts. Okay, so we can just pull Mare, Lakias. I don't even need to pull Nazlup. Alright, so Mare, speed passive, speed's a bit slow, but whatever. It's barely salvageable speed-wise. HP so-so, and then, like, attacks kind of shit, but it's a healer. Defense is kind of okay. Whatever, move on. First skill, attack defense to team for 5 turns. Not bad. We could use the speed, but this is 5 turns, so it's okay for the free MP. Regen's super nice, cause it's 5 turns of regen, stackable regen. It's good on tanks that like need maintenance constantly. Good shit. Last skill, 5 MP is kind of a lot. You heal, attack, and crit buff. It lets you pump out DPS while keeping your team alive, but at this point, 5 MP AoE heals are kind of awful. So like, yeah, that's it. And team heal, defense puff, plus damage reduction. Cool. This might fuck up your tank, depending on which tank you run, so you have to be careful when you use this, Mare in your team with the reduction. Generally, it's always good, but sometimes it'll mess up your team. But yeah, no, this is why Mare will not be as good. If these units drop down, then there's gotta be a bigger division in terms of, like, how good, like, Mare is compared to the top 3 healers. And then, next, Lakias. Okay, so team heal for 5. This heals twice as much as Mare's, so we're already getting somewhere. Attack and crit. Oh shit, I need to pull Mare's up again, just to compare the buff, because I'm pretty sure it's just a better version, right? Because Mare gives 25 attack, 31 crit, and this gives 20 attack, 15. Yeah, I think this is better. You're just healing more HP, and for AoE heals, you want the heal value more than the aggro value, to be honest. These two stats will just win more. You can revive someone, or you can heal someone for 5 MP. So this is, if shit hits the fan, not bad. Because you can salvage yourself. And then, yeah, no. Damage skill, crit speed, strengthen. All this is kind of garbage. Yeah, no. She's kind of like origami bow. And by that, I mean origami drops down. Yeah, origami drops down. Just has to happen. Yeah, no. So, Lacus is kind of like the healing bow. We set. And what happens to the bow most of the time is the bow gets dropped. That's just how it happens. But yeah, no. What else do we have? Mare, Lacus, and Lup. Okay, cool. Lup, free MP, physical attack, physical defense buff. Give OD to self. 4 MP heal, too expensive. You need 3 MP heals at this point. Damage reduction isn't awful, except when it fucks over your tank's reduction passives. Which is awful. And then 5 MP heal, which is too expensive. It's just, it does damage, but it's not worth it. You need it to be higher. The heal amount, or you need the thing to be lower. The damage is not worth the trade-off. That's it, and that's why she's getting dropped. And then we're probably gonna drop Lacus. Yeah, but then, okay, so you're saying Mari's heal is pretty low? That is true, but then Mari has that regen you slap onto your tank, which should be taking the majority of the damage, and it's at like a cheap enough MP cost where you can stack it and not have to worry about it, and it lasts for 5 turns, the regen. So, yeah, that's kind of good. Okay, cool. I think that's it. This is the new tier list. And then, what's gonna happen is Fish is gonna wake up. He's gonna look at me and be like, why is Denilot still an S tier? And I'm like, I don't know. But that's gonna happen tomorrow. And then, the tier list is gonna move a bit after that. I'm also probably gonna get complaints to, by Sif. I think Sif is gonna complain a bit too. It's fine though. I appreciate the feedback. I'm not sure if APM cares enough anymore. Alright, A tier. We're just gonna go to A tier. We're gonna start at Naz Club. Oh my god, I kinda hate myself for doing this. Holy shit. Alright, let's try to keep this underneath 3 hours. So that, I don't know. YouTube doesn't hate me forever. Alright, why am I scrolling through the entire list? Alright, oh shit, these are all attackers, right? You know what? I could just be super lazy. None of these units have changed super much since this list has been made. So what I'm going to do is just drop a bunch of people down to B tier at once. Now you're saying, Die, why would you do this? And I'll be like, dude, it's been an hour 20, and I don't want to spend an hour 20 going through A tier. Because, like, holy Christ. Has, like, A tier was almost the size of S tier, and that's, like, just the attackers, right? So, we're gonna pick one unit at random about halfway through, and all those units are just gonna drop down 1 tier. And then who's gonna get the axe is probably gonna be Frog. So from Frog down, everyone just goes down a tier. The end. Also, I'm pretty sure Saya dropped slightly. At this point, I don't really care. Oh, man. It's like, do I even remember, like, the space I left off at? And the answer is probably no. Alright, cool. All that's just the big attacker drop. If you're probably wondering, yeah, no, why did I pick Frog? Because Frog is a bias for me, because I really like Frog. One of my first units, and I really liked him. But he's kind of awful, and the other reason is because Spot Shout here has a 100% chance to burn someone. So I think that's busted. That's pretty much it. I don't need an explanation past that. Buff debuffers, we kind of... Swimsuit Eva was never that good either. She was kind of a decent Earth nuker. And that's kind of it. Oh, wait. The Nazarick Eva, I get buffs. Yeah, she did. She got to be slightly less awful, but still kind of awful. Oh, wait, A tier, we can go to buffers, debuffers. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with most of this stuff. Yeah, no, the buffers are not gonna move, realistically. The only thing is, like attackers have DPS standards to meet, but buffer debuffers generally keep doing the same thing regardless of content. So yeah, no, none of these units are gonna move on buffer debuffers in A tier. Good shit. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna move a bunch of units from B to C just because I know, I just think they're kind of awful. I just don't think like a 5 MP AoE is that good. Actually, Skull Knight's spelled. Yeah, no, that's it. Juice, Evil Eye, Glass. No, we'll leave Glass. Yeah, no, we'll leave Glass. Actually, no, we had to take Glass down. Glass is pretty awful. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. I'm one of the few people who don't think Glass is that bad, but I know there's enough people. I don't think there's enough people on my side about Glass. There's a lot of people who fucking hated playing for Glass, and I don't blame them. Sucks. I'm not gonna touch anything else though. Anything else is kind of the same. Dude, did Fish sneak in here? Oh no, nah. Fish would have said something in Michael's text if he did sneak in here. Oh. Oh well. Fish can deal with this podcast later. I don't think he actually would listen to this though. It's pretty lengthy. Alright. Alright. So at this point we are at, this is the tier list now. It's kind of a pain to look at, but whatever. I don't hate it. We just got a lot more selective of S tier units. And we can now do the new Demiurge, and now we can do the unit buffs. Alright. What? Megumin up? Oh, Evil Eye Megumin up. Let me just pull it up real quick, and then I can decide if I want to move her. Power, 5-star, and then Explosion. 9k decent attack. First skill is kind of meh. It's not awful, but you don't want to be using your MP like that as the attacker. AoE is good for farming. This just gets to OD the max, and then 61% chance to burn. That's like not bad of a percent chance. It's just that it's tied to OD, so as a burn unit, she isn't that great. It hits everyone, which is awesome, but at most ending points of content, only one enemy is going to be weak to burn anyways. So hitting everyone for burn isn't really going to do much. Nuke's kind of okay, yeah. It's a good nuke, but like it's 10 MP to get that, right? And then she just gets deeps. She gets low speed for some reason. Dude, she's actually super slow. That kind of sucks for like a new-ish unit, to be honest. Because like she's at like 320 speed. Yeah, no, that's all. Yeah, and you know what? Not bad, but she's not moving anywhere. I can't justify moving her higher. That's it. Dude, if you like relics that give you evasion and crit, do I know the relic for you? Ambassador of Evil Eye. Because there's a new one that's coming out. Shit's great. Yeah. If it opens up or it loads. Also, yeah, if you guys use this website, this offline site, it's fucking fantastic. You should tip him a coffee. I will probably go tip him later. It's just that I don't want any of my information to show up on stream. But yeah, no, yeah. Critical evasion, man. Look at that. Full evasion, 15 crit. Pretty decent stats. I would like a bit more HP. I'd like 600 more HP, but like, this thing's rad. Okay. But yeah. I'll probably do relic tier list, not on this tier list talk though, because this is already running late. Alright, close that. We can deal with that later. Alright, so, let's go unit buffs. So first one, we could talk about is Demiurge, Mass Demon of Catastrophe. Let's go. 10k HP. He enters the Big Dick Club. There's very few people in the Big Dick Club. I think the people who make up the Big Dick Club are literally what is it? Pimp? So it's Pimp Irons, and I think it's like PDL, right? Does PDL even get there? No, PDL doesn't get there. And if PDL doesn't get there, I'm pretty sure Tubeto doesn't get there either, right? Yeah, cool. Good shit. Good shit. So yeah, there's two people in the Big Dick Club. And they all wear fancy hats. So, good shit. Yeah. So, to get into the Big Dick Club, you have to have a nice hat. And you also have to have 10k attack. Alright, but anyways, that's not a really good comparison though. Alright, so let's look at him overall. 76 HP. Whatever. Not the worst, but like could be better. 10k attack, which was really nice. Really nice attack. Defense is alright, speed is alright. First skill, 3 MP, Dark Poison with good rates. It's pretty good in terms of like DPS. It's mixed damage, hits about 128, has decent rate, like element rates on it. Cool. Next skill, 8 MP. Holy fuck. This is like Frogs, except more expensive and only hits one person. It deals 4 hits of 41% fire damage, and then it does 4 hits of 52% dark damage. So that's 164 plus 208. So it's 372 damage at 8 MP. Huh. Dude, that is super underwhelming. Even if you factor in the element rate up, you get close to 558% damage. You have 8% stun on this move instead of 5, which is a bit different than normal units. And this is just really expensive for not enough payoff. You know what they could have done? If they threw in another deals 4 hits of damage of another element type. So if they did like deals 4 more hits of ice, like deals 4 hits of ice for like 38%, that would actually make it really good. but it only does 2 multi-hits. And I think you need to squeeze a 3rd multi-hit in there. Even changing it from 4 hits to 5 hits would make the skill a lot better than it is. So yeah, no, that's not that great. Not that great at all. What else? 5 MP AoE. Wow. Holy shit. I have a bias for 5 MP AoEs. You can't even use the boy to farm, man. Okay, so there's 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, so it's a generic 80% damage 5 MP nuke. I feel like we have better 4 MP nukes. The only plus side of this is it does 100 element rate up for 4 different damages. So most of the time, this is going to net you about the same damage or better than certain... It's going to do more than most 4 MPs, but I don't think it's worth the 5 MP cost. 25% magical, 50% on all his elements, 152% magic damage to all enemies. Dude, that's it? Dude, that's so sad, man. They did my boy wrong. Like, if his OD was like... Oh man, we're gonna have to pull up the other member of the Big Dick Club real quick. Oh god. Like, look at this. This might not seem huge, right? But like, it's 5 elemental types at like 39%. And then anyone who's got Irons be like, man, this thing slaps. Only because like elemental multipliers, right? If they did the same thing, because if you add these together, it's only 195 plus 150 elemental rate, right? And this one is 152, right? But like, even if they made his 152 into different elements, and then concussed it to an elemental rate for each one, it just exponentially gets so much larger. But it doesn't, and it makes you sad. It makes me so sad. Yeah, it's not even the pimp irons, cause like if I make unfair comparisons, then we can go grab like what Nazarick chair, right? And look at her OD. 5 hits of 33% magic damage to all enemies. Okay, so like off the hop, right? She does 165, right? And he does 152. And these units are comparable to each other because they're all new. Heck, he's newer than her. And like, if you read the first line, she already does more damage. And then she has 3 more lines of text, which is flame damage, ice damage, shining damage. So like, they did my boy so fucking wrong here. Holy crap. And then she has Dragon Killer on it. Like, if they had put in like 39% fire, 39% ice, 39% dark, 39% poison, 150% element up, it'd be 1 element less than Irons, but at least he'd even get use of this passive on it to exponentially make the damage higher. But they don't. It's just, I am so crushed, man. Like, what the fuck? And now I put him on the tier list? Dude. Oh, man. Man, they're so fucking biased. I don't know. Actually, no. They put Marty pretty good. Okay, so, so we look at attackers, and then, we're just gonna do a direct comparison to Frog. Right? And it won't be hard. Because Frog is also a Demi unit. Alright, so Frog 76, 73, 10, 79, 36, 33, 392, 47. So Frog's just slightly faster. Frog's AoE 140%, 7 MP, 5 MP, 2046. Demi hit like Naz Demi hits harder than other Naz Demi. On just this pure element rate up / mana cost over time. Single target, much more cheap and reusable, self buff, and then just different ways to nuke people. This is better. This is just better than Frog Demi's 2 MP, even with OD gain and like damage. Even though it's 1 MP cheaper, I think this one just does a bit better in terms of raw DPS. So yeah, no, it's better than Frog. And then they're not on the same tier, but like I can't even, dude, it's awful because I can't even justify putting this in the A tier. Yeah, 2 MP versus 3 MP. I don't know, man. I think he's just above Frog, and we already dropped everyone on A. I just can't move him any higher. His base attack is just really high, and that's it. Makes me sad. Yep. Yep. Okay, cool. Who else got buffed? Halloween, right? Oh wait, is that another Demi unit? Right? Demi, Shizu. There's no red solution, right? Oh, I tried. I almost had all of them. So Halloween Demi got buffed. Best Girl got buffed. Solution got buffed. They might call me crazy on Spanish server. Like, dude, don't worry. I love the Spanish server. Like, they come here sometimes when I'm depressingly talking about the tier list by myself. They're gonna call me crazy, put Demi on B, then like everyone else on B should go down too. That's it. Other changes on here? Yeah, the changes are live. I don't remember having a 1 MP here last time. So wait, changes are live. Okay, let's just do this. Let's just go solution first. Alright, so where is she now? I think solution... Man, this kind of hurts my eyes just looking at this. Solution is down here. She's C tier. Okay, cool. Alright, so high HP, almost 10k, almost reached the big dick club in terms of HP. 411 speed's pretty good. Good shit. Better than Alfumi. 3 MP, this was 2 MP, and they gave the attack down. That's still a shame. It would have been better if this was really cheap at 2 MP. I don't think the attack downs that's great, but whatever. You can stack that up to a percentage. Spot heal for self, not awful. 50% attack, 75% skill damage for 3 turns. Immune to physical damage 1 stack. This is just for self. This is kind of garbage. Oh no, this is onto an ally. Never mind. This is onto ally. Not bad. 4 MP. Starts with 3 turns. The regen is really nice. 50% reduction. Attack spikes when she has a lower ratio. This is good because she used to have defense ratios on like defensive like stats on ratios, but they removed some of that. And then I don't see the point of making her stronger physically. Like giving attack to self, I think that's kind of like pretty garbage. You're not using her to swing. But so better than 0. We'll pull up 0. We'll do a direct comparison. Because normally when we do tier lists, we do direct comparisons to other units. And we normally go from next higher up 1. But 0 has always been a really good bar to set. Alright, so we grab our boy 0. And then HP, she's higher. Attack, he's higher. Defense, she's lower. Speed, she's higher. Okay, 0's first skill you never fucking use. Second skill you shouldn't never use. So he just gets 50 reduction, 50 defense, 200 provoke. And then 3 turns of provoke, 50% magic, 15%. Okay. So what happens is she has this on passive, and then he doesn't. That's a big issue. Because he has to use his provoke skill to get it. So that means if he provokes late, or he doesn't generate enough aggro, that someone else is going to get hit too. Also, they both have to start with provoke skill, but she has regen, so that's better. His other passives, 50% magical, 15% physical. She has 30% flat, and the base reduction, so better passives. Her taunt is 3 MP, 200% provoke. His is the same thing. He gets 50% defense, and she gets 20% attack down. She has an overusable skill, and yeah, no, she's better than Zero. Like, Zero has like 1 good skill and 2 shit skills, and then she has like 2.5 good skills. That's kind of it, right? So then we grab Solution from the trash, and then we move her above Zero, maybe above Darkness, because Darkness is a very good comparable. We can bring her to Origami, which we set as the bar, right? Where the heck did Origami go? Did I just lose Origami? Holy shit, I think I did. A tier? Yeah, where in A tier did I drop off Origami? Am I just like super blind? Oh, wait, what? Help me, chat. I lost Origami. Oh yeah, I put her as an attacker. Whoops. Okay, my bad. There we go. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Huh. Shit, for a second I was like, dude, where did I misplace her? Okay, cool. And then we can just grab Origami, and then we can compare the two. Good shit. More HP, less attack, less defense, more speed. Not bad. Spot healing is better than this, I would say. 4 MP taunt, kind of expensive. You know what? Yeah. Solution is probably better. Yeah. It's because, like, Origami becomes an unkillable god machine, but it's like... Actually, if she beats Origami, then we just compare her to the next tank. Which is Aura. Cool. Well, we'll just keep playing this game until, like, they lose. Alright, more HP, less attack, less defense, a bit more speed, but, like, Aura kind of just is a better all-rounder. 60% reduction, which is kind of important. The regen kind of makes up for it, though, I'd say. Being in the spot here is also pretty strong. Same kind of resistances, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah. She has... You're comparing a 3 MP taunt to a 4 MP taunt at this point. Except that, like, this taunt has the heal attached to it. So it's combining the 3 and 4 MP skill together. And then it's giving you resistance and it's giving you a bit of DPS, even though it shouldn't really matter because you're a tank. Yeah, no, at this point, they're comparable. They're comparable. I would say these two are right close to each other. What does tank or second skill do? It's aggression mitigation management. That's it. And that's kind of important sometimes to get your provokes on point. But they're comparable. They're comparable. I do like her base high reduction. Yeah. Halloween Solution is a very usable tank. That's it. She's good. Yeah, that's it. Like, I don't think she's as good as the top 3, but like, in terms of tanks, all these tanks in this tier are really good and usable. And they're strong units for endgame content. So, it's an accurate description of them, right? Like, you would take these over the other ones. Alright, cool. Next we'll do Demi. Cool. This is still 5 MP. Global Demi had a better skill. It's like, what the fuck? I think they changed some paralysis killer stuff on this, but it's still pretty garbage. They need to make this like 85%, man. Like, nothing's gonna actually get like paralyzed, and if it is for 5 MP, man, holy shit, super trash. 4 MP would be better. You can actually fight with 4 MP. He doesn't even have like aim, right? He has hit on this, but like he should have like +4 hit on passive, And then the threshold thing is bullshit. Threshold thing is so bullshit. Don't like that. OD. Yeah, no. Still pretty shite. Where is he? D? Does he get the pity move? He gets the pity move to C tier. There you go. If you watch the podcast, or whatever, this tier list talk, he gets the pity move. But that's it. Barely gets the pity move. So fucking awful. Okay, Shizu. Her speed's still awful. Her HP is still awful. Her attack is 88. Cool. Bleed unit. Good shit. And then defense down. 128 free MP. I like that. That's a really cheap bleed. Bleed chance is high. Good stuff. They made this 1 MP. This buff is okay. They should have just made this like 36% overdrive. Then you'd actually want to use it. I know it's 1 MP, but damn, man. They should have made it higher. 5 hits, 54% chance. Yeah. Cool. Doesn't do much more damage than before. I wish this was free MP, like they did with Clem or something. Base attack, base crit, bleed killer. That's nice. Yeah, you know, she's pretty good. Like, not like super good, but like she was all the way down in what? D tier? She goes up. I'm just gonna do a quick glass comparison to see if she can escape from being gatekept. Actually, wait, no. Like, let me scratch this real quick. If we're doing this off the merit of her having bleed, then she should be as strong as Kotori. The only reason why I'm a bit more hesitant to move her up is her HP is really abysmal. Her HP is like 67. I guess you could patch it up with I Bow Before You, but like, where did I put Kotori? Do I just keep on misplacing units? Like, what the fuck? Alright, so like, if I put on the merit, right, of being as good as Kotori now, it gets really painful to make this comparison. So I'll do it. Because I guess I'm a masochist. You run into... Alright. 63, 72, so like 1,000 HP more. The attack is about the same, a bit more defense, a lot less speed though. And then you have your bleed, and then you got your burn, 61% burn, 145% fire, and then this is 128. So it has the fence shred, which kind of evens it out. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna leave her there. At 1 MP less, she can bleed more than Kotori can burn. And then she's cute. She's so cute. So cute that I'm just gonna put her above Kotori because I'm super biased. But realistically, Kotori has better passives. Cool. That's it. Any guys have complaints, queries, quandaries? Anything else you want to do? Talk about? Before I punch this in and they get, like, discussed about by Fish and Sif, maybe APM, other people. What about Shiramochi? Shiramochi's fine. Make Death 9 to 5-star? No. Oh no, Shiramochi's just hilarious. I refuse to move Shiramochi. That's it. Why is Shiramochi bottom of the bottom tier? Have you seen his best skill ever? Dude, you guys don't know the brilliance of our Lord and Savior Shiramochi. He comes and saves the new year, man. It's great. Look at this bad boy. 72 HP, right? 75 attack. His attack's a bit on par with most decent enhancers. He's got a body of 34. He's got 435 speed and a speed passive, so his speed is like on that average, right? Like, come on. He's like, his stats read, I am the basic bitch enhancer. All my stats are average. His HP may be a bit below average, right? And then like first skill, attack down for 2 MP, right? Then he's got Kihoku skill, but only for himself, and a bit better. And then he's got this beautiful 8 MP where you just inflict almost every status in the game. And do you know what? If Shiramochi gets buffed, do you know what I want to see? All the other statuses added onto this. I want like, it's like Bleed and Burn was all we had at the moment. But then I want to be like 7% Freeze, 7% Drown, 7% Storm, 7% Despair, 7% I already forgot the Earth one. And then, yeah, no, just stacking more status ailments. Give me 7% elemental debuffs on everything. And then give me the shred attached to everything. Do that. Crystallize, thank you. I don't have any units that crystallize. So yeah, no. So like, dude, Shiramochi is great. And if he gets buffed, he'll only become greater. That's it. Or they'll make the child Shiramochi as a form. But either way, no man, Shiramochi's great. So good. Oh yeah. Kus. Good shit. But yeah, no. Shiramochi's not gonna move. That's it. I just think all those other units are just worst. So Golden Cock to A? Oh, did he get demoted in that landslide of movement? He did, right? Yeah. Nah, I'm sorry, man. If you're just a pure single DPS unit, you have to be as cheap as Nazarick Clem to stay, or have higher ratios, I feel. Cause like, everyone else has like an AoE or has high ratios. Or do something very specific that's kind of important. If you want to submit a ticket for Cock to move up, then like I have to do a much more bigger dive on that. And I'm gonna go to bed instead. So yeah, thank you all for coming to this tier list talk. This happened live, so I was talking to mic-less text chat, not just to myself like a crazy person. And yeah, I'm gonna post this up on the Discord server, so this will go live. Happy Halloween to everyone who was here during this time. And most likely this will get uploaded on November 1st, because it takes probably like 6 hours to compile this long-ass video. Yep. Good night and goodbye.